I don't know, I haven't got his lease on it.
That's pretty neat. Good work. I like it a lot better than the farm.
Definitely more are coming than the fleets.
Oh, yeah.
Want me to call him?
Yeah, maybe, or send him a text, something. Where are you at?
Uh-oh, somebody stole a pen that was in that book.
Not me. This one was over there.
What happened?
I stole it from there.
I'll go get some. I got a red pencil.
It's all right, I'll sign them without it.
All right.
Hi, is Eric there, please?
You got the week off?
Oh, it's Joanne at the town hall. I was just
Yeah.
wondering if he was coming to the meeting.
Yes, I have the week
Super.
off.
Thank you very much.
It's been very nice. I have no idea what day it is. I had to keep reminding myself today. It's Monday. You have a meeting. It's Monday.
He said he left a long time ago. which makes
Uh-oh.
us goof it off, huh?
Yeah.
What was I just gonna do? Oh, this will be a test to see if Mary brings back black pens.
Oh, yes. Hi, Chief Mater. Can they hear me? Hi, Mr. Twyman. Mr. Twyman, I was thinking of you on Christmas. I should have sent you a card, and I apologize that I didn't, but happy late Merry Christmas.
Can you hear it?
He can, I think. He just has muted himself. I miss Mr. Twyman.
It's a nice man, isn't
Yeah, me too.
Thank you. Oh, sweetheart.
I
You got
confiscated one for myself.
he? Okay.
I was hogging it. Thank you, though.
Also, at the end of the meeting, I have to stick my face in. I have the new quote for next year for the copy machine and the printer.
Oh, good. Okay, thank you.
You have copies in the stuff I sent you.
I wonder when we should start the conversation with Russell about the pond. Our annual Russell Pond discussion.
Yeah,
We're gonna have a town swimming hole at Blair Pond.
We're gonna shoot for it.
at what?
We're gonna shoot for it.
All right,
At what?
Blair Pond. Uh-oh.
Come on, Tom. you
It's
can
full
get
of
behind that.
bloodsuckers, honey.
Well, that's all right. You just put a little meat trap in there.
We've got a lot of blood to give.
Mhm.
You want mine, you can
You
have it.
know,
That's
right
one of
there,
the dirtiest ponds that I know of.
we'll put a filter.
I think, yeah, you can get the leeches out, or we could sell them. Can't we sell them for something? Doesn't someone want to buy leeches?
Yeah.
Those people that have spiders for pets.
We'll be known as the leech capital.
Guaranteed to cure COVID.
Don't they use them for some medicinal purposes still?
They used to. So people
I
still
don't
have
think so anymore. I think modern medicine's gone by that. Maybe in some country they do. I don't know.
All right, who else do we have with us? We have RH and CS Melser. I'm not sure. Oh, so we did our town Santa Claus. We did our Zoom with Santa, and I ended up just doing it at home on my computer. And we had, I think, 4 kids total from town
Nice.
come in and Zoom. And it was really sweet. My husband did a great job. He was definitely nervous about it, but I think
Santa?
yes,
Oh,
yes.
nice.
So and we got a great costume, went really well. So the next day, so Violet reminds me, Mom, don't forget to change your name to Santa Claus, or else the kids are gonna zoom in and they're gonna see who is this Carol attender. So I changed my name to Santa Claus. And the next day I'm trying to get into my professional development at school, and they won't let me in because they think I'm some
You
creep
got half.
with the name Santa Claus. And I was like, oh my God. It's a whole faculty. I'm like, I'm sorry.
Mary, thank you for your article. That was nice.
Hi, Eric.
You're welcome.
Howdy.
Welcome. Good, how are you
Like,
then? Merry Christmas to you
Santa
too.
Claus and the fire truck.
That was
It looks like I'm the only one that has to clean out my, should we switch
was-
this at this
It
point?
was great.
Maybe it's about
I
time.
was driving engine 1. And we
that?
come in, oh, there's a bunch
Oh,
of kids,
might
so
be
I
the wrong
slow
idea.
it down.
Hey, look, it is organized though. I have all my
Cleaning out
clipboards.
the window. Yeah, that was a fun time.
All right, we're going to open the meeting at 6:04. Josh is joining us digitally today down the hall. And the finance committee will be here at some point, as well as Regan Moravik for the declaration. So first up, let's go over the meeting minutes from December 14th. I'm gonna leave it to you guys because I was not
You were
present.
absent that day.
I was
weren't you?
absent.
Okay, we established a percentage. Election, Nate Maynard.
Is, okay, so that was remaining the same, the tax rate.
Yeah.
Cool.
Following the road, PPC.
I think motions in order to accept it as written.
Second.
Any discussion?
None here.
All in favor?
Aye.
You want to say that you abstained?
Yes, I will abstain as I was not present. So I'm gonna
Just
pass
copy and
these.
sign.
Here, Eric, you can sign that, and then I'll pass it over to Tom. All right, do we have anyone signed up for audience participation? Or one and only, anyone online?
I am, but it's for new business.
New business, okay. Anyone on Zoom? No, okay. We're
Hang on,
gonna-
someone's at the door. Go ahead, sorry.
That's okay. We are gonna move to review and take action on contract with Tech Roofing Service. Thank you, Tom. For gutter replacement for Portable Library. So
Thank you, sir.
Josh caught me up a little bit on this. He said that there was actually, this quote was actually less than
Yep,
the other quotes, and it was for the copper gutters.
yep.
So you guys approved the quote last week?
Yep, we approved the quote, subject to town attorney approval, I think, review, and then we wanted to make sure that they pulled a permit at no cost from the town to do the work.
Okay, great.
So yeah,
Go ahead.
the quote was approved. So what's in front of you is the contract between the town and the vendor. So the council did review it, approved it to form. Now it's just a matter of you guys approving the sign. And I have the originals here for signature. So after you make your vote, don't worry about signing those. I'll come over and you'll sign this one.
Okay, perfect.
Are you in your office?
He is.
Oh,
Yep.
okay. This is-
They did have,
No.
Kara, they did have with their quote, their own terms and agreements,
Yeah.
which you'll notice there in your copy, I've crossed it out because council said we have our terms and agreements, theirs is irrelevant.
Okay.
But that's the only real change that you see there.
And when is this gonna be installed? Is this after the winter?
Yeah, they said in March. So
In
this
March.
contract will be throughout the duration of the month of March.
So more likely April.
So this is something that we will extend once the library is, expansion is done?
So if you look, section 3 there, term of contract, this agreement shall be in effect from March 1st and expire March 31st.
Okay,
Although you're signing on this 28th day of December. So it's just kind of outlining the term of the contract to execute the scope.
It's giving the pop period of performance.
okay.
Right.
Okay, great. Well, that's exciting news. So I would make a motion to approve the contract with Tech Roofing Service for gutter replacement at Porter Memorial Library. Is there a second?
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor?
All right.
All right. Next up, we have review and take action on quotes submitted for carpet replacement at the fire office side of the old town hall.
So there's 2 quotes in front of you. The chief did reach out to 2 other vendors and didn't hear anything back. Remember, originally we had gotten price quotes to do not carpet, but to remove the carpet that's there currently and install some sort of vinyl flooring, and the costs came back way out of our kind of, our range.
Yeah,
So instead, when chief came on board, he further investigated and thought it'd be a good idea to replace it with new carpeting. But he's here online and he can talk about that more if he wants. But what we're looking for is direction from the board as to whether or not you want us to proceed with this work.
hi, chief. So I see 2 quotes in front of me. One is for 7,946, and the second is, it's a little hard to read, 6,910.
I can't read it.
Yeah, I don't have them with me, but yeah, that sounds about right.
And they're both for, it's equal service, correct? Just removal, disposal, and then putting in a new rug. Is that right?
Correct. Yes.
And the rug that's currently there is it moldy, and is that the
It's got holes. It's lifting up the carpet that was put down. I don't know when that went down. One of the contractors said that's like the lowest grade contractor quality. The backing was also the adhesive. And he said the bad part is that type of carpeting and backing doesn't like moisture. And it's right as soon as you walk in the front door of the training center, the carpet's there. So it's lifted up. In my office, there's holes in it. A couple other spots, there's holes in it. So if the town plans on keeping that building, well after we're moved out of there, then the mid-grade carpet tiles are the way to go, because that way, if a section gets bad, we'll have spares. We can replace that carpet tile, that one section, instead of putting new carpet down throughout the whole building.
that
The
makes
other
sense?
thing, Kara, is this was one of the, you remember we had the building inspector kind of go over and do an overview of what the needs are based on what he sees.
Yep.
He had identified the existing carpet over there being a tripping hazard because it's folded up in multiple areas of the space.
Okay.
So this will help solve that issue.
Okay. What do you guys think? Any questions?
Well, if the chief is good with the carpet warehouse bid, then it looks to me like they're pretty equal products.
Yeah, as far as I can see, it's hard to read the carpet warehouse one, but I think it looks like they're pretty. Where would we be taking this out of? Is this a capital expense?
Yeah, it will be capital, and later on in this meeting, we'll do a summary on where we are with your capital expenses, both what's expended to what we have left on the pipeline between now and year end. So we'll be able to go over that and understand more or less where we are with how we're spending capital.
And it is, you had sent us that breakdown in the email, correct? Where we're at for spending. And so it looks like we have not spent a lot out of capital as of right now.
It's like a change. Yeah, we have a good chunk of change in there.
Okay.
I mean, remember, there's some commitments, right? We have 270,000 that's going to be for the pumper tanker. We have a little less than 20,000 for PPE or, turnout gear and stuff for the fire guys. There's other things, but in that summary in your packets, you'll see that breakdown.
Yeah.
Of what's left to be expended and what's been expended so far, and what we have left to, continue, planning and spending. So.
Okay. TJ, have a question?
Yeah, how's the flooring under that carpeting?
Chief, do you know what the flooring is like under the carpeting?
Where it's up and around one of the vents where I was able to get it up, it's plywood and it looks in pretty good shape. One of the concerns the vendor with the vinyl planking had was if it's not level, the vinyl planking that was bid originally prior to me arriving would have broke if the floor wasn't perfectly level. But from what we've seen, the plywood looks in really good shape.
Thank you. All right.
At the time that was put down, they used to put down what they called underlayment, which was a plywood made for installing under carpets, so it still should be halfway decent.
Okay.
How long has that carpet been in that building?
Forever.
No, because it was a town hall before that, right?
And we're just
Yeah.
talking replacing the fireside, right? This is not the
Right,
post.
this
Okay.
is not the post office.
We did that. Okay, that's
Yeah,
right.
it was the town hall
Yeah,
Okay.
so
and post office.
take your business. I mean, it's a building we have to maintain or sell, and we aren't selling it.
So, yeah, I
we need to
agree.
Maintain it.
Yeah, it's gotta be maintained.
All right, so I'll make a
I hear
motion.
you want to sell it? Is that what I can't?
Yes, desperately.
Unless the post office wants to buy it all.
Make a motion to approve the quote from Carpet Warehouse in the amount of, please tell me if I'm saying it wrong, Josh. I think it looks like $6,910.83.
88.
I just say not to exceed 7,000.
All right, there we go. Not to exceed $7,000. Thank you. For carpet replacement of the fire office side of the old town hall building. Is there a second?
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Excellent. So then we just need to go forward with a contract to
Yeah,
approve.
we'll draft one up and hopefully by your next meeting, I'll have one for you to approve.
Okay.
Unless you want to give me that authority now, we don't have to mess
You're
with
busy.
it.
Do you want us to, what do you mean? Give you the authority to move forward with the contract?
We'll have it on your agenda for the next board meeting.
Thank you, Josh.
It's less than 10,000. We just go out and do it.
That's right. All right, Janet, welcome. Are we waiting on someone else from finance to do finance committee?
I don't know if Kathy
Kathy's
Shelter
on
is
there.
there.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
Kathy's on the line.
Hi, Kathy. I think, is Jennifer on the line with the Board of Health update? Is that the call?
I thought I saw Jennifer up there having a
Yeah, I did
BOH
too.
meeting.
Okay.
I think they're up in the.
Well,
clerk's
we
office
can,
doing
she did
BOH.
send us a Board of Health. I can just read through it.
Look at the post
I
office.
think she intended to be here next year. Let me check
Okay.
what she asked me.
So maybe we can just read through that quick and then we'll get started on the finance stuff.
We don't have the Reagan Norway.
Regan's coming. She had batting practice, I think. She'll be here soon. TJ, was this a Christmas hat?
No, it's one that I got when we were down in Georgia for my granddaughter's wedding.
I
They
like
have
it.
a place they call Germantown.
Okay, that makes
and
sense.
It's like a German village.
Where were
Yeah.
you at for your daughter's wedding?
Pardon?
Where were you at for your daughter's wedding?
She's on her way.
Okay.
Down in Georgia,
Where?
just north of Atlanta.
Huh, because my wife and I have a timeshare in Clarksville, which is by Germantown.
Bye, Germantown. Okay, so we'll wait for Jennifer to do the COVID update. In the meantime,
She said she's coming right down.
okay. I'm gonna pull up the detailed expenditure report and just sort of look through that and see if there's anything. Here they are. Hi, guys, welcome.
Hi.
So we were on a COVID-19 update. Do you want to give us an update?
No, I don't have that on me, but I think everybody was emailed.
Yeah, do you want me to just read
So-
through?
Go for it.
Okay. I think it went to my other email, so I'm just gonna pull it up on my phone. Where was it? It was recent. All right, so I won't read the whole thing because I think there are some minute details in there. Downloading file, 0%. Let's see what we can do over here. See if we can get
Like
any
you got internet
faster.
at my house.
Oh, wait, here we go. Okay. So we are out of the red. Once again, we've gone 3 weeks to put us in the gray. When viewing the charts provided through the state, it should be kept in mind that these charts do not tell the whole story. Calculations come from what is presented in Maven and not what we actually have. It gives a good idea of what is happening, but is not completely accurate. This can make it very confusing for residents. Example, cases that are not recorded in Maven under Blanford are calculated under a different town. This happens for various reasons and situations. Yet Blanford Board of Health will get this information from our local partners. So from December 26th until January 10th, there's a possibility of an extension of another week based upon available data. Is that another week in the phase that we're currently in? Okay. So everything would remain the same.
Yeah,
I
all
won't-
those restrictions, yeah.
And then the deadline of December 31st for the students to have the flu vaccine was pushed to February 28th.
Yep.
Which is super helpful. And then there's some conflicting information about the vaccine, but two things for certain. Vaccination is being dispensed in phases. First responders of smaller communities will receive the second phase. We're receiving the vaccine in the second phase, where larger pollution and hospitals, et cetera, will receive in the first phase. Is that supposed to be population? Hmm?
Population.
I figured. General public will be in the third phase. Each phase has requirements that must be met. So Chief Mater, I'm assuming your crew is not due for the vaccination quite yet. You're in second.
Well, it depends which organization I hear from, but right now their state put a requirement that to be a dispensing site for your agency, you have to have 200 first responders.
Oh,
So clearly that eliminates everybody in Western Mass but Springfield. So I got an email a little while ago, Agawam Fire is willing to host a site for all police, fire, and EMS in Western Mass, or Hampden County at least. So hopefully it's sooner than later, because I know our counterparts in Connecticut are going to be finished by the end of this week. So it's kind of disheartening that we don't even have a plan and they're
Yeah.
already finishing.
yeah.
We could just pass a resolution that all people in town are volunteer firefighters.
There you go.
No, we had a call the other night and we got there and the people told us that they had tested positive for COVID. We had no idea until we got there
Yeah.
that it had happened. Fortunately, they assured us that it was long enough ago, so there was no problem.
Yeah.
But still in all, we were going into it blind, and that's not a good thing.
Well, if they had tested positive, but they've already gone through their cycle, then you're okay.
Doesn't matter to us,
Well, sure, it should.
not when you're answering a call. You want to know what you're walking into.
Right, and I do update the chief every time we get it through Maven.
But we
That's
don't
a
get,
prime example
Of-
of Maven communicating and
Yeah.
what goes through. And it's a very,
Yeah.
it's not a secure, it's not a,
It
know.
doesn't sound like it's timely.
I'm not, it's not timely,
Yeah.
I'm not thrilled with it.
Yeah. Yeah.
So,
And in the past, it hasn't been as much of an issue, obviously until we were in a pandemic, but I know that they were always tracking something, but it wasn't quite on time.
sometimes when
Yeah.
it shows up in Maven, it's already a past and there's not a thing we can do about it.
Yeah. Okay, so the last thing I have on here that was due to ongoing challenges, the COVID-19 Command Center and Food Security Team are still addressing needs of those in quarantine and isolation with food assistance. And then there's information they can reach out if they need food assistance. I think that's on our website. Is that reach out?
It could very well be, but they're doing another round and up through May something.
Okay, so Josh,
So
if
they
that's
just got another grant for it.
if that's not on our website, can we just make sure that we get it's I'm not gonna say her name right. Hannah Wallace, phone number and then email, just if anyone in town needs food assistance.
I think Josh has that same.
Yeah, the same email.
Yes.
Perfect, thank you. Do you have anything that you want to add to that from Board of Health?
Not a thing,
Not a thing.
except for tell me when it's gonna be over.
Do we have Board of Health on for anything else that you want to go over? Well, it looks like under new business.
Yes, can we do that now?
Yes, that's fine. So we're gonna go, is there any other unfinished business before we move on? Are we good? You had new, you said, okay.
Yeah,
All right, so I would make a motion to move to new business, D, the budget strategy to help Board of Health with the revolving needs as it relates to the use of revolving accounts jointly with finance. So Kathy, thank you for joining us. And we have Janet here from finance.
Seconded.
Seconded. Oh, yeah, I made a motion. It's been a while. Discussion? All in favor? Aye. Thanks, Eric. Okay, so do you want to start, Jennifer?
No, we were invited to.
Okay. So
I
I'll
know
let,
what we're looking to do.
Okay.
So,
I'll let Josh start then. Go ahead, Josh.
I'll just give an overview of the situation, and, the resolutions, and that way you and the finance committee and the board of health, you can have your discussions and determine how you want to proceed forward so that, whatever the solution is, that we're supporting the board of health, and making sure that they're able to, do what it is that they do. But specifically, what's happening is the Board of Health, they have two revolving accounts, a bags revolving and a perk test revolving. And what the Board of Health is looking to do is rename these accounts. The bag revolving to be transfer station sticker fee revolving account, and the perk test revolvings to something more general, like Board of Health inspections, for example. Revolving account. And in order to rename any of these or to change anything that has to do with revolving accounts in general, it has to be done on town floor. So they can't use these accounts for anything else as it stands, because of the original vote that took place, for it to be, specifically for bags and for perk test inspections. So to rectify what they're looking to accomplish here is to rename or come up with other alternative solutions that helps meet the objective of what they're trying to accomplish.
So what's the objective?
So for bags, there's no bags. What that revolving account, what they want to do is fees collected for transfer station stickers that they go into that account. And for the perk test account, that it's renamed for just general inspections and not just for perk tests, because they do other inspections as it relates to Board of Health as well. So what they want to do is be able to use that account for not just inspections, and money going in and money going out to pay the inspector for the intended purpose. Whatever we decide, these changes, since we're working on our the articles for the warrant in preparation for a special town meeting on February 1, we figure, let's identify the path forward so that we can reflect it accordingly on the warrant and make the necessary change.
Thank you.
So inspections, I understand, right? That if we're paying inspectors and you have money coming into an inspection account, money has to go out. But for stickers, I don't understand the idea of that being a revolving account, because it should just be stickers cost money, and whatever we receive in funds for those stickers should go to the general ledger, right? Because there's nothing, if it's a sticker account, you're only buying stickers with it, stickers in,
Correct, yeah.
stickers out. So you would think that that is just budgeted for, if it costs us $500 a year to buy stickers, but we're getting $80 a sticker, you only need to have, 10 stickers worth of money in there, then the rest will go to the general account, because there's no use for the money. It's not sticker to sticker. There is use for the money.
Go
Well,
ahead.
I get that, but it's just very, very important to the money. Okay,
It maintains our buildings and our equipment.
So you're looking for the bags revolving account to change to the transfer sticker, and then to use that money, the fees that come in for maintenance of buildings.
The sticker money is supposed to be for maintaining buildings, the equipment we have.
Yeah.
Without that, we can't maintain it.
So my understanding would be that, so I'm trying to think in terms of of the other departments and how they work. So my understanding would be with fire department, or who collects some fees for inspections and whatnot, that money would go into the general fund, and then we would budget appropriately for the year for maintenance of the Board of Health.
Yeah, well, get the sticker money, July 1st, keep it in that account. But then when the year ends, then you transfer it over to the general fund. But we don't use for maintenance.
we can't give you, say, budget us every year for 5,000 because it changes. There might be 4 dumpsters that need to be welded and redone and repainted, because we have to keep up codes
Yeah.
with the DEP. So it depends.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
It changes every year.
I get that. But I think that that's not just Board of Health. I think that the situation of like not knowing 100% what you need to budget is pretty standard across some of.
Yeah, sorry.
No, go ahead.
I'm just- What I'm feeling here is that we want to call it a sticker account, but it's so much more.
Yeah.
Yeah.
what do we call it?
And
Sticker account.
what we should say is, you should have an amount that should be funded for operation, right? Whether you call it special operation of the transfer station. And if that is the 6 and 1/2 dozen the other to the town, right? Because we can budget it. If you anticipate an income of 300 stickers a year at $80 a sticker, that's $32,000. So we should be able to project that there's $32,000 to be put into that operational funds. Anything you collect should just go into the general budget.
Correct. And then any leftover would go
And
to,
anything left over at the end of the year, we would have the authority to either move and reappropriate or let it carry over
Yeah.
into free cash the following year. So that's really what that.
That's
if I
how
look at
water
How that
does it.
account should be managed, that's probably how it should be managed. It's just an income fund to the town. And we allocate X for operations and use it.
I mean, that's how the water department budgets, like if they're building maintenance, they'll budget, let's say they budget 30,000. They may spend 30,000, they may need more than 30,000 and end up having to come to the board for, out of capital or something. But
So I just want to make sure I'm.
Yeah.
Right. So we would have another category in, we have the, Board of Health and Transfer Station expenses, and we have the, cartage and tipping.
Yep.
So this would be in addition to,
yes,
would be another account and say,
well, you would add another line item for building maintenance.
X amount of dollars.
X amount of dollars. And then, obviously you can go up to, if you feel like you're getting to a point in the year, which is where we're actually our next thing on our line item, our expense report that we're going to look at. If we feel like it's over and it's going to go over, then you could approach the board and we could try to figure out, if we need to go to capital, if it's an emergency, if there's whatever. Or if there's excess left in it, then it rolls over.
Because the bigger issue, it's a subtle but bigger issue is there's money we can give you for operations and maintenance. But if $10,000 was to come out of that to buy a new shed, okay, that's a capital improvement. That's a different fund.
Yeah.
So you have to have that in mind of how we use that, because we're getting more pressure from the state to make sure we're accounting for our capital assets, and that's all stuff that we are doing to keep our finances in line. So it's not out of line to say, hey, you generate income, but that income generates for an operational expense. Let's put it into an operational expense budget.
I think,
So we should be able to forecast that
yeah,
regardless of what you
Well,
collect.
we don't have yet, we'll go on to.
yes,
We can be guaranteed that money just in case we need it.
Well, you should be from year to year, you should be on the average, right?
It can fluctuate.
Yeah,
Yeah.
if your floating average is 288 stickers, we should be able to project that for your
Oh, it's
operation.
good. Yeah, it's going up.
Right. Or
and
whatever.
our first year of presenting that as a line item in the budget, we would explain in the past, this was used going forward, we're budgeting it. This would be, assuming this is what the audit would recommend. They would not want a board or a committee having just sort of an account that they can dip into and, pay for different things. They would rather be more sort of controlled and just cleaner, I think, coming out of that line item. But so we would have to explain that on the floor this year, because it might look like an increase, like a substantial increase. But then going forward, I
It's
think
really
it would
just
just
a
be
parlay
standard.
wash.
Yeah.
Kara?
Yeah.
We've got a revolving account for the fire department, but it can't exceed $10,000.
Yeah.
And it has to be voted on every year at the annual town meeting.
And you use that for
There's an
inspection.
increase.
Pardon?
You guys had changed the provision there, I think my first year when I was here. The only time it'd go on the floor for a vote is if you're anticipating on increasing the amount of the 10,000 to, like, let's say 12,000.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it's changed, just, but
anything over that goes into general fund.
Right.
Yeah.
Right, so. if
And then
there's-
you would budget for
You
your,
sell a truck for $50,000, you keep 10 and 40 close to the general.
I don't even think it's anything, I mean, it can be a practice we can do, is, we look at, because what's collected goes into the general fund. We just, when we're putting the budget together, the finance committee, look at what was collected. It's gonna turn later into free cash, so, that can be something,
exactly.
and take free cash and put it in a capital line item, for transfer station maintenance.
Well, I don't,
Kind of a rule of thumb, I guess, or a practice of
I'm
some
just trying to correct you there, Josh. It's not gonna be capital, it'll be operational maintenance unless they're buying something new.
That's.
Or you have a significant, you re-roof the building or
So
something.
if we had to say buy a shed, that would
Yep.
say $6,000.
Yep, that's capital.
So how much of a hassle is it gonna be for the transfer station to get that through the town? I mean, are we gonna be turned down? Is it gonna be going through hoops when we know that we've collected this money?
Yeah. I understand,
People for the purpose
yeah,
of maintaining and keeping up the transfer station.
I understand what you're saying. But I think the way that it has to work is it has to work that there has to be that a little bit of hassle, right? Where you get the quotes or it's under 10,000. So theoretically we can just go forward. You don't have to get the 3 quotes, but you would get quotes, bring it to the select board, just like we just did with the library. Yeah. So it has to be a little controlled. And I think that just coming from that sort of government position of, when we get audited, they're going to want to see that we're going through that process.
If they get that money in and it goes into general fund, and they wanna buy something,
They have to go like every other board. They have to come.
that's right.
to
And
us, yeah.
it doesn't come out of the general fund because that can't be used until it's certified.
It would come out of the capital for like a
Right.
shed. It would come out of capital, just like we just approved capital for the carpeting for the fire department and then gutters for the library. So it is a little bit of a process. I mean, you can't just go out and buy a shed. You do have to get a quote and then we have to approve it and then we have to have a contract written up. But it's a much cleaner, it sort of covers everyone,
Okay.
right?
From a movement standpoint, right? You're planning every year, Board of Health, you're planning your receipts, you say your receipts are gonna be X, let's call it $20,000. $20,000 is into your operational account. If you want to use that operational account to buy a $5,000 building, you can simply tell us as the board, we can move the money. Whether it be through a special town meeting or whatever, we can authorize the purchase and move 5,000 out of your operational account to capital to pay for the capital asset. Does that make sense? I mean, it's moving your checkbook around,
Yep.
but we need to know where the checkbook is to begin with.
So do you guys want to have something drawn up to get on the warrant so that we can make the change? It would just be changing the perks review to the Board of Health
Well,
inspection.
you're controlling it, so why don't you guys come up with it?
Yeah, I mean, Josh, if you want to send out to legal to just add that to the warrant, do we have time still?
What am I, so we're changing bags, no.
Is it already on the warrant? This
If we're not gonna
giant
carry
novel?
bags anymore, we would remove bags. right?
We'd be removing that revolving account, but we'd be changing the revolving account that says perks revolving account
To Board of Health.
to Board of Health inspection.
Remove bags.
I don't think I saw it in this novel that I read.
Does that make sense to y'all, what we're talking, as long as, from a board standpoint, does that make, Jen and Brett, does that make sense to you guys?
For what?
What we're saying, does that make sense to you guys?
I hear what you're saying, and I completely understand and agree with the part of having to know, the funds and
Yep.
having it go out for, get quotes and all of that. But I think it's the part of knowing that, they bring in X amount of dollars. I would hate to see whether it be me or somebody else come in here in need and get turned down because they need something fixed or something that's
Yeah.
going to
Yeah,
cost
right.
them
Unless
more
it-
than.
Unless
pay
it's capital, you don't really
$10,000.
run that risk. Unless it's if it's operations and maintenance, it's operations and
Yeah, you
maintenance.
just do it like
If
that.
it's capital,
I mean,
then it's really just informing the board that we
Yeah.
have a capital expenditure so that we're in the know and we can offer that. So I
Okay.
don't perceive that as a huge risk. at all.
So me getting things fixed and stuff, I can just do it.
Mhm.
I can't wait.
Yeah, as long as they're all under the
Yeah,
$10,000.
under that,
limit.
yeah, under that
So I can do
maintenance
it.
line item. Yep,
So
absolutely.
then what about right now this year, because we're kind of in that,
Yeah.
and we're not budgeted for it, we know we have things that we have to
Yeah.
fix. We don't have,
So
If
where's your money at?
right now, it's it's all right here under that, we've got like over 25,000
Yeah.
sitting in
Got a lot of
whatever
bags
our
to buy.
accounts.
So if you have something, I would say it's the same situation. If you have something you need to fix, it's under 10,000,
But it's all in the tax.
then you would be taking it out of your account.
So take it out of that account.
Am I wrong?
They have a maintenance,
Okay.
maintenance account or anything.
No, you can't,
Plan
we
for
can't
that.
do that.
Jennifer, didn't you say it was also the purposes of tracking the revenue?
Yes, but I guess we're not gonna do it. I mean, I guess we'll still be able to.
Yeah, you'll still be tracking receipts.
We'll still be able to, like we have here, like the, like how we have it down here this year. I think that we've all tightened up a bit between how they're doing and how we're doing that. I can kind of now see both sides, the money that's passed in, I can now see exactly where it is.
Oh, good.
Where in the past,
Good.
I
know,
couldn't
yeah, I know
see
you had mentioned that.
where it goes and nobody can,
How are the receipts for, I'm gonna make up a topic, how are the receipts for construction waste handled now when you have to pay to dump if somebody's paying you $20 a barrel to dump something in the construction dump, and then we have to pay to dump the construction dumper, where'd that $20 go?
so, that's right, so, I'm sorry.
Okay.
So, I'm glad you brought that up. So, maybe a good thing to do would be to take the bag and put it underneath, because we collect, hold on, I gotta get to the right page.
No, that's fine.
Yeah, I have some other papers. We collect for perks, for permits and demos, so it's demo, so like when you go to the transfer station and you drop off your tires and your couch and your TVs and all
Yeah.
that. That's in addition to the cartage and tipping. So,
Okay. So we need that
It's-
under the Board of Health inspection? Do we
So-
need that or where?
that money that comes in for the demos, it's like $10 here, $30 there, 50 here, depending on what people do, it's usually not more than 100 at a
Right,
time.
right.
That you could probably, or we would recommend that the revolving bags be turned
Yeah, I
into
agree with
demo. And that turns around and pays the extra for WM.
Sure.
Who is
Yeah.
it?
Waste management.
Waste
Waste
management?
management.
Because that's, I was more, because there's a fee in there that I just, it doesn't go to bags and it doesn't go to inspections. So it should be, our bags fund should be a demo
That'd be making
Right.
sense.
tippage fund or something,
A
whatever.
demo, right.
So you're saying that instead of bags, we change it to demo, we collect the money from demo, and then we use that money to empty that container.
It pays the excess.
If they had-
cartage
if
to
they had-
extra.
If they had a revolving account with a $10,000 limit, if they spent 4,000 of it, that'd bring them down to 6, they could build it back up to the 10. But it would let them have an account where they could easily pay for emptying that construction box or the metal box or whatever.
Which is fine. I'm just not really understanding what the need for a revolving account would be for that. Wouldn't
If
that
it's
just,
budgeted off,
wouldn't
right?
that just be budgeted operations?
But for demo, it
That
makes
would never
sense.
be a set amount, because it depends on,
Changes.
so if you're bringing in, I don't know.
So the more people bring in, the more it needs to get emptied. Okay,
Yes.
that makes sense then.
So-
Okay,
They have
right,
no-
so it
they have
would be
no way of
covered.
knowing.
that
So
makes
you're
sense. I got
covering
it.
Your own expense of getting that
Okay.
done.
So then we need, so Josh, for the warrant, we're gonna be changing the bags revolving to demo revolving and the perks revolving to Board of Health inspection. Is that correct? Board of Health?
Yeah,
Okay,
that's how I hear it.
so they'll still have 2 Board of Health revolving, but we're just changing the names and the purpose. Are we good? Does that make,
I think it works.
okay, Mary, question?
Well, there, so as I understood the conversation, there's also gonna be a change in the line items. There'll be a line item for maintenance and operations.
I don't think we need to add that to the warrant article, though.
No, not.
Come
No.
budget time, there'll be budgeting,
In the
adding a line.
future, yes, their receipts for stickers will go to the general,
Right,
Fund.
that's not part of.
and we will provide them an operational maintenance account for them just based on the projection of sales, so that they can have a steady flow and start access to that. at the
But
beginning of the
I
year,
think that,
Rather than wait for the,
I think that revolving account would be good for them because they have no way of budgeting for how many times they're gonna have to have that construction box emptied or this box over here or that one, other than.
Yeah.
uh,
This is starting to click because for years, Board of Health would come to the select board at the end of the year with this like crazy amount of money. Do you remember, Mary?
right?
And it was just like, so I was just trying to understand, like, in my head, I'm thinking, how have we not corrected this until now? Like, how do you not have
Right.
a building maintenance account? And then now I'm realizing why that had been happening. And for somehow this discussion didn't happen 10 years ago, and it's just finally happening now. So I'm glad that we were able to square that away. I think that should help you overall with your budget. And it should be a much smoother process going forward.
Yeah,
So,
it was, yeah, because it was our understanding that until we started researching that.
yeah,
we were, you know, we found that it wasn't for that, and that's
yeah,
why we're always behind the eight ball.
okay. Well, that makes more sense. So let us know if you have more
Yeah,
questions or anything.
why it sounds like you might not have money to spend.
Yeah.
You can't spend money that you haven't.
Yeah.
bought. Yes,
So when we do our budget for
Yes.
this upcoming 2022,
Yep.
we're budgeting in for a maintenance.
Yeah, and so this will be the hardest time for you to plan that budget, that line item, because you're gonna have to try to look back over at receipts. I would talk to accounting and see maybe what you put into building maintenance this year. Get an average and then, you know, try to pick a number for that line item to start.
Okay.
So good luck.
well, I mean, you know, it's gonna be your best guess, right? Really, I mean, this first year, we have to understand it's just gonna be your best guess, so we can get on an operational paradigm, but
Right.
that's fine.
And again, some years it might be more, some years
Yeah.
it might be way less.
Yep.
Right, but if we can project it, then it just becomes part of, it makes budgeting easier because we project receipts of X and we project those receipts right over into an operational budget. So it really shouldn't be a huge number at the end of the year that we're dealing with going into free cash there.
Okay, perfect.
Thank you guys for figuring that out. So I'm gonna I'd make a motion to move to line item. We're backing up action item A.
Okay,
Is there a second?
seconded.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Welcome,
you
Regan. Thank you, guys. Hi. I'm so proud of you. So we have, our item A is to take action on a proclamation for Regan Moravec of her service as the Project 351 ambassador to the town of Blanford. Awesome. So I'm going to read this out. Do you want to tell us a little bit about what you did, or would you rather I read it? Okay.
And then I'll ask.
And then you'll ask. Okay, so this is a proclamation from the Town of Blanford Office of Select Board. Whereas Regan Moravec, a Blanford resident and student at the Gateway Regional School District, was appointed as the Project 351 Blanford Ambassador by the Gateway Regional School District. Whereas during the early month of December 2020, for 1 week, Ambassador Regan Moravec coordinated a food drive by setting up a non-perishable food donation drop box at the Blanford Country Store. And whereas donations of 853 pounds of non-perishable items, 850 items total, were collected. Whereas all donated non-perishable food items were donated to the Huntington Food Pantry. Whereas on behalf of the town of Blanford, we express our sincere appreciation to Regan Moravec for her volunteer service to the town of her community and for her community involvement through this project to help the Huntington Food Pantry and area residents. And Now therefore, we, the select board for the town of Blanford, do hereby recognize and commend Ambassador Regan Moravec for her service to the community and urge all citizens to render all due support to honor Ambassador Regan Moravec for her ongoing commitment to improve the quality of life for all residents. Congratulations. Do you want to do a photograph in front of the, okay. So we're gonna do a pandemic photograph. We all have our masks on. Tom, do you want to stop? You gotta frame this for your wall, okay?
Now you can do the logo shot and then we can do the whole group.
Yeah, I want to know. So I
You
can-
can't tell if we're smiling.
Yeah.
Do the photo in front of the Zoom screen.
Do you want to turn it around?
Turn this around.
Yeah.
I know you can't see it. All right, perfect. Congratulations.
Awesome, good job.
I would shake your hand, but I'm not allowed.
Good job. Yeah.
Want to do an elbow bump?
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Thank you.
You know, somewhere you think there's a t-shirt involved.
I know. We need some Blanford t-shirts to give out for this purpose. You're gonna be first up when we get one, Regan.
Blanford Ambassador t-shirt.
Absolutely. We gotta make that happen.
I'm thinking of getting her an Ambassador Regan crown now.
Yes. I'm sure this is only the start for Regan of good things that we'll see. Law school, is that right? We're still thinking law school?
No, we switched. You can tell her.
What's
She's
new?
your future town administrator.
Ah,
Yes,
maybe.
getting things done.
Grandpa says no, John.
Come on, all good things. Well, thank you. You did an awesome job. All right. So we are gonna move on to all department expenditure report. I hope that goes on a frame on your wall. Yes, in a frame on your wall mounted,
With the all department expense report? Are you
not the
kidding
all
me?
department expenses. I keep clicking on it and I keep clicking on it and the wrong thing comes up. Okay, here it is.
College, application time, right?
Oh, yes.
Hey, don't say yes to the first college that says yes. That's all I'm saying.
Keep your options open. Got it.
It's like dating, be choosy.
All right, so what month is it? It's January. We should be at July, August, September, October, November, December, January.
Six.
We're not January yet. We're 6, so we're 50%. All right. Get to see my math skills
50% or less, right?
at work.
50% or less.
Are you quicker than me?
All right.
So far, we're looking good.
Bye, guys. Thank you so much.
Thank
Good
you.
to see you.
Thank you, Regan.
Thank you.
All right, treasurer's clerk. Did we already talk about that one? Is that a new one that's jumped up? Treasurer's clerk's at 62%. It's just a little over.
Yeah, and I notified Sarah about it. Where
Okay. Thank you.
So 66. where's that?
The town clerk, yeah, we already looked at that one. We already looked at elections. We already looked at town hall. We don't want to ask you about IT again.
What?
Eventually, we'll just catch up to where it's supposed to
Then we
be,
won't be
and then we won't have to ask him
we're
anymore.
right on target.
It'll be, in a month or so, we'll be good. Highway, I think we already talked about all of these for highway.
And I do, when we send out these reports to all departments, letting them know that if there is any unanticipated expenses, or feel like if anyone is, there's some sort of unforeseen issue that might be coming on the pipeline, that they let us know immediately so that we can address them and
But
go
we,
calls.
I'm just looking, and it's only 10%, mind you. I was looking at some of the Board of Health stuff.
I was on the same one.
And
Look at
but
us.
we anticipate getting some of that money back through the COVID relief package, right? We just haven't received that check, or have we?
Wait, transfer station salaries through COVID?
Right, because we had to add extra people so that people didn't get out of their cars.
Oh, I'm not supposed to get out of my car?
No,
Oh.
you're supposed to let them do the work.
I always feel bad when
I know, I feel guilty as hell as I smile and wave, but I said,
No.
well, you're paying for it.
and I judge you. I think you're lazy.
No, we talked about that back in, I think it was June or July, that we added staff to the,
Oh, I don't know where I
because
was.
they used to be 2 people, we added staff to, so that folks wouldn't have to get out of their car, so people wouldn't have to have contact with each other.
That was the discussion. I believe what they did instead was, what's his name? He was just there a minute ago.
Brett?
Brett. Brett increased his time. And yeah, so that and that was already, his time was already diverted into a separate account for COVID.
Okay.
I think after December, hours are gonna adjust. So that should balance out at the end. I think that's Jen's plan, but I'll touch base with her and make sure that.
I mean, right now it's only 10%, but you know, when you get to the end of the year,
Yeah.
I mean, like no transfer station for Judy.
And it's not a very big account either, so.
Jen, yeah, she's pretty good, and I'm pretty sure she's all over it. But I'll circle back with her and just confirm that plan, so.
Look at all the money we have available on Memorial Day.
No, get some money to move around.
How's library? Library's looking good.
No,
No, we're not move around.
no,
Watch
you
yourself.
can't have it.
Well, we
Have it
can
back.
have a different Memorial Day.
No, we're gonna be able to do something by Memorial Day.
Okay.
Hampton County Retirement, that's fine. Town insurance, fire police. Licensed assistant is up in water at 57.
Okay, you go, water person.
I don't know what their breaks and repairs are at 99. Why are all these people calling me? Is something going on?
Yeah, so Gordon's that's gonna be another article on the warrant. They're gonna move money around within their budget to give more flexibility to that line item.
Okay.
So that's in the works.
Do they need to check their budget for next year?
Yep, so again, Gordy and I had this conversation, and they're working on it.
Okay.
Knock on wood here. Hopefully everything goes as planned.
Yeah, I'm good.
Yeah, they're at 66 for capital expenses too. All right, I guess that brings us to the end. All right. We've got next up, review and receive bridge inspection reports from Mass DOT. Oh, these should be stellar right now, right? They're not? What do you mean
They're
they're not?
good. Not stellar, but they're good.
All right, so we've got Blair Road, Hiram Blair Road, and North Blanford. Let's see.
So North Blanford came in at 9s, the other bridges came in at, so the 2 bridges we had repaired came in at 9s, the other 3 bridges came in at 7s, which means they're satisfactory, so we technically don't have to do anything. That's the
No,
way,
but and
that's the
Tom,
way I read the report.
well,
I
one,
see some sixes. Go ahead.
I was just saying, so this was communication to you guys. Yeah, so they've identified certain things just for us to keep our eyes on. There's nothing that in there that, says that we have to act on immediately. However, there are some things of note for us to keep our eyes on and plan for as we proceed forward. So
Yep.
That's what that is.
So that's the, is this the Hiram Blair one? You've got to be kidding me. No, Blair Road. Okay.
Yeah.
I was gonna say, I can't take any more Hiram Blair. Blair Road is the one at 6.
Uh-huh.
Which is satisfactory.
Right.
Okay. And
So
then,
all of our bridges passed. They documented issues with them, but all of our bridges were.
Yeah, but most of those issues are housekeeping.
Right.
yeah, so, oh, thank God, Hiram Blair's got an 8. Okay. And that is very good.
Mhm.
That's like a B+. Okay. And then the
I
last
wish
one's
they
for
could do
7.
a bridge report on the bridge that we have that's missing. I would love to see that one.
A bridge that we have that's missing, MIA. All right, any questions or discussion on that? No, we're good.
The bridge culvert lack thereof on Standard Road or whatever.
Obviously,
The deck floated away.
Yeah.
Rainey's got these, right, Josh?
Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
Next up, we have the budget planning perimeter overview. So this leads us into our talk with finance. So I think this works well.
What was that word?
Yeah, the next couple of,
Parameter.
yeah.
What did I say? Perimeter? I was talking about the bridge and we're talking about like.
I
Listen.
think it was just an accent mark. Okay, so what's going on? Budget planning parameters.
I forwarded everybody just kind of a memo of sort of an overview of what we have as, in preparation for, as we proceed forward with going through our budget process with departments. So did anybody have a chance to review that at all, or?
That was the letter where you looked at what our levy limit was and what you were recommending. Is that
Yeah,
correct?
yeah.
Yeah, that was very helpful. Thank you for putting that together.
I feel bad, you have homework.
Mary, do you have a question on that?
Jeff said he was going to submit, omissions and revisions, and that for the solar people to tax them. That should be a considerable amount of additional income. When are those figures going to be in, and when will they hit the tax rate? Will they hit the tax rate?
Nope,
They should hit the tax rate.
nope, we set
Why?
the tax levy. We set the tax levy. They won't hit the tax rate until next year.
Right. I thought they were gonna, with the admission, with the revision and the omission, I thought it would affect for the
Next
coming
year,
year.
nope. We set the levy.
Yep.
He does omissions and revisions, which allows them to report that these are known, and then they get caught the next year. That was
Doesn't
my,
happen this
that
year.
was my understanding of the discussion.
Okay. Thank you.
Yeah,
Yeah.
when we set the levy limit next year, that's when that income would flow in.
That'll show. But yeah, so in a nutshell, I mean, as you go forward with setting the budget, if we keep it anywhere between the 3.1 and 3.767, there's in local receipts raised in total $635,258 on top of our tax levy of $3,102,000, which brings our current existing budget to 3.7 million. We do have access capacity, as you're aware, and we talked about with the assessors at the hearing, access capacity of $136,629 on the table if we dip into anything more when we're putting our budgets together of 3.7 million. And at that point, and everything all depends, it's gray, right? Because it depends on how well we do in the collection of our local receipts in this world of COVID for next year. But anything more than that, you can look at potentially adjusting the tax rate and seeing an increase there. But like I said, because this year, or what Mary was alluding to, the 2 solar projects that are online, which we're going after this current fiscal year and collection of those pilot payments, we should see that reflected next year and can help provide some breathing room in this budget when we're setting the tax rate for next year.
Yeah.
Again, it all depends on what you guys spend too, as well. I mean, you might, maximize on the full potential of that budget and not able to see any kind of decrease in the rate, but something to keep an eye on as we start committing to departments, whatever their budget priorities are. So
as a topic for discussion, I just want to share that my concern through the whole budget process is, I understand that we want to try and keep the tax rate at level or lower, but we also understand that the Gateway Regional School District passes on a 2% increase to us every single year.
Mhm.
So the only way we maintain that and maintain zero is reducing the amount of money available to our departments and to our operational components, because that money shifts to the school district. So if we want our operations and our budgets to stay the same, we do have to look at increasing, because otherwise we're absorbing it negatively, right? If we don't move anything, every time the school district gives us an increase, we're just bleeding out the departments because they don't get any more money.
I would agree with that if we weren't.
I'm just saying in a big picture scope. It's not-
However, with the receiving the pilots, which
Right.
we have not factored into the budget, and the new marijuana industry,
Yes.
one which is rolling, another which is a possibility, I think that we do have the opportunity to maintain or even lower a tax rate
Yes.
without bleeding into the
Yeah.
other.
I just want to be cognizant that our message to departments is not to lower their expectations.
Correct. I agree with you.
Well, yeah, and that wasn't the directive either, departments. Obviously, we want to see in its entirety what the big picture needs are. And then at that point, you can have your discussions as to, what that will look like.
Right.
So Josh, you're recommending budgeting would be somewhere between 3.1 and 3.7 to stay within the levy limit. Is that correct?
Yeah.
Is that what I read in here? Okay. Can I just ask what our budget was this year? 'Cause I was just looking on the expenditure, but I don't think it's not going to be on there.
Hang on,
Do we know what we budgeted this year?
I can pull it up.
Should be in our-
Because I know that the school budget is looking like it's going to be another, what does it usually increase? We said to keep
Well-
within the 2.5. I think it's going to, they should be within there. They're estimating.
Right.
Getting to the 2.5.
Typically, they try to keep it below 2.5, but them at 2.5 still gives us.
It's
Right.
a lot.
Them
Yeah,
going up at 2.5 on
Yeah.
16 million is more than we can afford on a $3 million.
correct.
But also, Kara, I think, remember, we have a student body population decline in Blandford as well, so that can,
Yes.
So we pay more.
No, we end up paying less because
It
it's a
says right
standard
here,
assessment.
your original budget was $5,064,058.
That counts water.
That counts water, I think, which is outside,
It
which is,
says all departments expenditure report.
yeah.
Like that includes water.
So that includes water, and Josh was not including water in the 3.1, 3.7.
yeah, and I'm pulling it up now, just give me a
It
second.
looks like this one was 3.6. But I could, no, I'm reading under the expended.
Hold on, I got it, it's coming.
But yeah, I see that, Tom, the 5. I'm just curious how much we have to change this
I
year.
thought we were at like 4.2, but I can't remember.
And I think that's including water, though.
Yeah.
No?
No, we're saying 3.7, we're still out. We allocated last year. It's what we raise and appropriate that goes into the tax levy.
Yeah.
We took free cash and other things. We had a bigger budget because we spent more money than what we raised and appropriated, but we did that out of free cash.
Free
in the
cash.
fund. So we don't want to raise and appropriate more
Yeah.
than 3.7. We can spend more than that because we have free cash
'Cause we have
as
free cash.
income, but we
Okay.
don't want to raise and appropriate more than 3.7.
Okay. Did you find that, Josh?
I'm looking at total fiscal year operating, FY 21,
I actually might have it. in here.
budget requested. For some reason, I feel like this is not,
I feel like I could combine some of these.
But they're so organized.
I need. Oh, man.
It's only 7:10.
Look
We're
how-
flying.
we're
through our agenda.
flying.
Let's keep going.
Let's keep going. All right, so,
the other thing too is, to Eric's point though, on the uncertainty with the school district and these increases, the town of Chester established an education stabilization account. And last year, their budget assessment was $80,000 less than what they've planned, what they paid in the previous year. And what they did was they took that 80,000 they weren't anticipating and they moved it to a education stabilization to handle any potential increases that
Oh,
come
that's
up.
a great idea.
I mean, I think if we had some sort of policy where we transfer a percentage of stabilization or free cash annually, or if in our budget, our assessment happens to be lower than this year for next year, that we take that difference there and we strategically move it into an education stabilization in lieu of a potential increase the following year. I thought that was a good idea, but something to think about.
I like that idea. It looks like our total operating budget FY21 was 4 million roughly. I can't read all the
A
other
little bit
ones.
over.
Yeah, so,
Free cash to offset some stuff.
And then
well,
I
yeah,
think that includes water because,
no. So, and Eric and Eric jumped on the phone with me on the accountant to discuss this. There was excess capacity that we didn't budget or touched when we put the budget together originally. I think it was like, what was it, Eric, 120,000, 140,000 or so? Except that when we proceeded forward with the budget, I don't know, somehow, some way that got included into our dollar amount there. We didn't see an increase in taxes because we were able to offset the increase or that difference with revenues and receipts. But I think that's why the budget's reflecting that. And this year we're going to fix that so it doesn't happen for next year. Does that make sense?
yes.
I know it's confusing, it's complicated. But yeah, there's about 140,000 there that was in the budget that it's
And had we not come up with receipts to pay for it, we would have had to increase taxes.
right. Your tax rate would have been 18.24.
I was just looking at the water for last year, just trying to understand what the total was. Okay. So we have our overview. Do you want to start to talk about the overview for capital projects requests? Are we ready to go there?
Yeah, I don't know if the finance committee might have had any comments or questions on anything or.
I thought that, because every year we always look at the expense side of the budget. And
Yeah.
I thought it was great that Josh put this together. But it does get really confusing as far as it's not just taxes that you're using to create the budget. I mean, basically, that's the bottom platform and then you go on that.
Yeah.
And so that was great. And then he's also provided the tax rate recap that you can see how the tax rate is set.
Yep.
How this, I mean, it's really convoluted, but
Yeah.
this is how the state does it. And I think if you can just look at that and have a basic understanding of what they're looking at and how they're coming up with the tax rate, it's not, 2.5% of previous year. It's very, very complicated.
Yeah.
And to have this overview of that, the tax actually recap is really important. And if anybody had questions on it, I'd be glad to answer them because I think this is full of information that you don't really think about as far as the budget goes.
Yeah. I agree.
So, sorry, Kara, where are we now?
So if finance is ready, we can move on to the overview of the capital project requests. So I saw that we have a fire request. We have what's the other one? I know I looked at.
So, okay, yeah.
Water, no.
I sent out, yep. So I had sent out to departments to submit or, submit any potential capital project requests and to provide some sort of summary of where we are with these different requests. If it's anything that we have to consider this current next fiscal year or maybe 2 or 3 years down the line. And the fire department and highway had submitted one, but Mater is online, and I was hoping to just allow him to kind of, since we have the select board and the finance committee, and I've established this joint meeting because, you know, within the next week or so, we're gonna start meeting with departments and going over their budget requests. But I thought it'd be good to kind of get these big ticket items out of the way jointly, so you kind of understand more or less, you know, what's going in our planning efforts. So, Kara, if Dave, the fire chief, can take it from here and go through his capital requests.
Thank you for that, by the way, Chief Mater. It was very clear. The description made it easier to understand why it was necessary. So I appreciate all the work you put into it.
You're welcome. I just start with the years I put in there were just placeholders. Obviously, you know, it's 21 is front loaded, but a lot of that can be moved back. And after I sent it to Josh, I probably could have gone out 10-year forecast instead of, I think I went as far as 8 for the bigger ticket items for the trucks. But, you know, I definitely, I think I had 3 items for 21. And by all means, that's not, I don't need them. If we don't get them, we're going to close. But just to give the board and the finance committee an idea of within 10 years, these are some big ticket items that the fire department is going to need, or I don't want to say they're nice to have because they're needed. They're not really, you know, gee whiz, we could use this stuff. The hardest part was coming up with numbers. For the stuff in 21, the numbers are accurate. Trying to get fire truck manufacturers to commit to a price 3 years, 5 years, 6 years down the road. Their standard answer is add 5% a year and you'll be good in 10 years. Well, in 10 years, that's 50% increase. I don't think that's realistic, but for planning purposes, it's the worst case scenario for cost wise.
Mhm.
I don't know if you want me to go through each one of them, or if you had a chance to read it, you just have questions.
I did read through it. And I see that there were 4 for this year. Those seem perfectly reasonable. I see that you've got the, at first I had a question about the jackets, but it makes sense. I was thinking it was 3,000 each, but I see that it's 3,000 for all of them.
Yeah, and those are 2-in-1 jackets. So there's a fleece inner liner and there's an all-weather outer liner, like poncho thing with a hood. So for $300 a piece, we're getting 2 jackets for the price of 1, basically.
Yep. So I see your first item is the UTV, which I think you pretty clearly explained why it would be necessary.
Yeah, we had an incident. Well, we had a brush fire up on Beagle Club Road. I think it was my second week here. That turned into 2 days worth of me learning the layout of the woods in Blandford. And the problem was it was great access for a city guy. You know, it was great access. We had ATV trails, but we couldn't get our brush truck all the way around. We didn't want to cut down more trees. Didn't want to risk barking trees. Once again, our friends from Otis showed up with their ATV. You know, they're a godsend. And they were able to get to the backside and knock the fire down quicker. And then we had a woman with a medical emergency deep in the woods, and I'm pretty sure that's one of the calls Tom went to. Our ATV is great. It's an ATV that gets us out there, but bringing somebody sick or injured out with the trailer, it's a rough ride. Imagine you're a 4-wheeler and you're putting a trailer on the back. So we were able to get down to this patient, but we had to wait for Otis to come over and load her into their UTV and bring her out. It's great that Otis is a great partner, but when it comes to medical emergencies, we really can't wait for Otis to get a crew, load up the trailer and come to Blandford.
Yeah.
Here, if we could just roll right out the door.
So how big is a UTV?
That's what the side-by-sides.
Oh,
All right,
Peter?
it's probably
like a 4-seater?
2-seater.
quite as long as this table.
Have you, just out of curiosity, because I just remember seeing one years ago, have we looked in the containers out at the highway garage? I believe we have a police UTV out there.
They're using it.
It's an ATV,
Oh, it's an ATV, okay.
right? So the price for that I have here is one that
Okay,
comes, it's basically, it's a mini fire truck where the dump body is on the side by sides.
yep,
It has a tank, its own water tank, its own pump, its own hose. And it has a spot to put a stretcher basket in to carry somebody out. So it's basically a mini fire truck that'll go out into the woods and pretty much go anywhere we need it to.
And we would be storing that up at the highway department, I would imagine.
Well, hopefully by the time it arrives, the highway department will be gone and that will be the fire station and we'll be able to put it inside.
I love your optimism.
if not,
Otherwise, we could probably get it to fit in the trailer that's right outside of town hall now that the ATV sits in. We could just repurpose that to put the UTV in.
Okay. Okay, I don't have any questions. Do you guys have questions on the other one? So then we have the Class A uniforms.
we could remodel our pet shed.
So
into-
the pet shed, there you go. I don't
We
think
could
it's big
remodel our
enough.
pet shed into a UTV parking facility.
So I see, you're talking about the uniforms for those that don't have them.
Correct.
And I totally agree with your sentiment behind that. Just so they're representing the town and that feeling of community. And then last but not least, you've got the training area. So you're talking about bringing in what was it, the containers, the shipping containers for, and where you think, do you have a spot that you're thinking of?
I had talked with Rainey and we looked, so once, again, I'm gonna put my optimist hat on. Once the new highway garage is built up at the salt shed, we had looked at an area up there we could use. Southwick has just built one of these last year. Doesn't take up a lot of space. We'd be out of the way up there. And looking at where the building for highway would be situated, we'd have plenty of room. I put in there for 21, 22. Obviously, the thought would be wait until the new highway garage is built and Rainey's situated for space up there, and then we carve out a little corner of it to set this up.
Okay. Excellent. Now, moving forward, replacing the engine, is this something that we're starting to put aside? The idea is that we're starting to put aside funding for now?
Either way, a revolving, or I wouldn't, I'll call it revolving, stabilization fund for apparatus replacement, where we, pick an amount every year to put in there, or just see where free cash comes in, probably wouldn't be a bad idea. That way, although paying cash sometimes saves the town money, but that would be something between finance and your board that you could work on a plan of, do we want to keep making capital purchases outright, or do we want to finance them long-term? Or I shouldn't say finance, but save for them long-term.
I know for police, we've started that sort of the process where we're constantly looking at putting aside money to purchase new vehicles. However, your vehicles are substantially more expensive than
Well, I think, and the police piece is different, right? We're writing a check to Chester, and Chester has the capital revolving fund
Yeah.
for that. So that's,
But because fire vehicles are so expensive, I mean, it seems that it would be more reasonable to be, saving something yearly as opposed to just,
well,
paying
I'm
$400,000
just sitting here
chunk.
looking, could a swarm of UTVs serve?
Are you thinking like what are they?
Like a Blandford Fire Department cavalry coming out? I don't know.
Like Bumblebee, wait, Transformers?
Yes,
No,
it would be cool. It would be fun. I don't know if it would be effective.
yes. So I mean, that's the only comment I would make would be that thought of, should we start sort of somewhere in your budget, Chief Mater, a line item where we're putting aside some funding at least to start collecting for the engine one replacement? Just
Well,
a
I
thought.
think we have to address, somehow that answer is yes, but we have to address how we do that as a town. Do we actually start a type of, because we've done it for buildings, right? We have a building
Yeah.
stabilization fund. We don't have, And this was part of our growth, I think, that we were talking about anyway, that we don't have that, when we have that capital plan, how much are we putting into the capital for long-term capital vice next year's capital?
Yeah.
You know, other communities that I know of, because everybody comes up the same thing. Fire trucks are crazy expensive, followed by dump trucks. They've set up a 25 or, we could probably do a 30-year plan to replace trucks moving forward.
Yeah.
You just set aside, plan on 30-year savings plan to replace a particular truck.
Right. Then that's just like Social Security, you just dump money in and
Yeah.
then 1 year it's broke.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Right. Thank you for putting that together. Finance, do you have any questions for Chief Mater?
No, I know that they need these things.
Yeah.
So they're looking at, so this is the budget for next year, right? This is what. so
This
we're
is-
looking-
Well, this is his capital plan
Right.
and the first
So
four
whether
for
we
next
do it
year.
with free cash this year
Yeah.
or it's projected.
whatever we decide to plan, yeah. I mean, I think some of this, like, for example, the Class A uniforms, we might be able to do now, but it's all based on what you guys agree to, on strategy, to proceed with.
I mean, I was thinking that even all four of those could be possible free cash items.
Mhm.
I mean, a couple of them we might be able to do now, but free cash items, because they don't add up to what, about 50,000?
48.7.
Yeah.
50, so you could do a free cash line item for 50,000 for fire department expenses and
Yeah,
for fire department expenses and capital and let the chief spend it.
yeah. So maybe just the ATVs out of capital and some of the other, or out of free cash, and some of the others we could do now out of capital. I don't know. The coats we could do out of capital. Now, I mean, that's the 3,000?
Absolutely. I mean, that's actually the next thing, to look over that if you want to start that now, Chair.
I don't know how long they take to come in, but I think that would be worth looking at getting done sooner than later.
Yeah, I ordered one for me back the beginning of November, end of December, and I still haven't received it yet. So there's
Oh,
been a
that's
lead time.
interesting. Okay.
I'm glad it's not cold. I don't have a winter uniform jacket yet.
Yeah, so Josh, if you want to look at that for capital for this year, that would be,
Yeah, one of the things we could do is certainly keep our eye on the target and see where we land 2-3 months from now, and projects that we completed, great, and those that, anything left over, we can just start chipping away at it with, some of these proposed requests here, using the capital line item.
yeah, absolutely.
So we'll keep an eye on that. We'll plan accordingly.
Okay.
But speaking of capital, though, did you see the summary?
The summary under the detailed expenditure report, which document am I looking at?
Looks like this.
The fire summary? Wait, that one. Yes, I just pulled that one up.
So, and I mentioned this only because the select chair brought it up.
Yeah,
Select chair, you do have 37,000 in your reserve account, which if you don't spend it, it just goes over to free cash.
yeah. So we could, what are the stipulations around spending out of reserve, though?
Finance has to approve it.
Okay,
That's it.
okay.
Well,
So
the stipulation is, yeah, that's the bottom line. Finance can approve it, but we try to maintain a practice of
You just
tapping
don't,
into that when there's unforeseen related expenses.
Yeah.
That wasn't planned for or budgeted for that. And I'm actually in the process, in the very near future, you'll have a draft new set of policies to add into the financial manual, to help kind of determine how we govern reserve, stabilization, free cash, overlay, and all those other reserve-related finances, which would include defining, reserve that's controlled by finance committee. What are the parameters behind what gets approved, or what doesn't get approved? What are some of the things we should be looking at prior to tapping into any reserve? things of that nature. But right now, as it stands, Eric point, yeah, right now, there is no agreed upon policy, or it's just kind of, rule of thumb practices that we've been
Mhm.
navigating with.
We moved that money to the reserve account out of the assessor's overlay account
Oh,
to
yes,
true up the overlay
Yeah.
account.
Right.
Knowing that if we don't use it, it goes into free cash.
yeah,
So it's an opportunity that,
Yeah.
I don't want to say, we don't need to spend it today, but I'm saying you have an opportunity that reserve, as we get later in the year, if we're not spending it, that we can fulfill most of these requests right out of the reserve account.
that's
I
true.
was just gonna say the same.
Mhm.
I know we can't, probably the off-road firefighting rescue vehicle, but the jackets, the uniforms, stuff like that could easily be done.
Yeah.
And not wipe it out in any stretch.
So Josh was just referring to, he broke down, what we budgeted for capital for this year and what we've expended. So far, we budgeted,
I saw that too.
we've only expended what,
So we budgeted $395,425.
yep,
We've spent so far, and you can see, actually attached, you'll see the expenditure report, but in the summary, you'll see library capital.
yes,
We spent 13,588, and that's not including the gutter work just yet. And then for fire department, the repeater signal, the chief, as he alluded to, he bought some turnout gear that he's waiting on. Fire department, $4,935. The water line upgrade that we committed, $780. So a total expended so far, $19,304. There's, again, if you subtract the 270 from the pumper tanker, the 19,005 that's been expended already. I think there's in the pipeline more SCBA's and turnout gear that's going to be purchased, Chief, I'm assuming,
yeah, that was my question.
or you were getting a grant for that.
Right, I'm holding off on, so I spent some to buy a helmet, a pair of pants for me because Ed had his own. I'm holding off on the SCBA purchase because the federal grant should be opening up next month to replace all our SCBA, and that's about $135,000 grant with a 5% match. So when I hit, because I'm being an optimist again, Kara, my thought is to use that remaining balance towards the match.
Okay,
So, and then on the carpet of the $6,000 that you approved today, I think we're looking at a remaining balance of roughly $100,000, more or less,
okay.
to play with.
Are we doing the modifications to the kennel, or have we held off on that?
The what?
Well,
Modifications to the kennel?
no modifications. The current animal control officer doesn't see the need.
Okay, good, thank you. Yeah, we had budgeted $3,000 to modify the kennel, and
Sorry, we're not gonna use
yeah,
that.
no, we're not.
We're gonna start a bonfire in it. That's what we're gonna do.
Yeah,
That's an expensive bonfire.
Yeah.
Well, I say we probably need to make it a UTV parking garage. So just
So the
take
fire department needs
chain link off of it.
volunteer firefighters need some practice.
yeah.
No, we just
Right.
take the chain link off, hollow it out, and we can.
No,
pack the
listen,
UTV
I'll
right
take
in
the
it.
kennel. You guys can just bring it on over.
No, you
There's
can't.
chickens in that.
All right, so I guess what I'm looking for next is the highway capital. Is that right? So I've got a little bit different.
It's last page, 3 items. It's a
That
road
doesn't
grader,
help me. I'm looking digital.
550 and a
Over the-
over the guardrail mower.
I know,
I
I
thought
look-
we got one. We get one of those from the.
I know I
state
read
every
it,
year.
but
I
I'm
don't
not-
think that's available anymore.
we don't get it
I
through the
thought we get
state.
that boom mower. Doesn't that go over?
No.
I don't think it's available after this year.
But we use that, we share with other towns.
Right, because the state passes it
Now,
around.
that was through the
John Deere
power
tractor
company.
attached to a mower.
Is it
No,
through the
was
state?
the power company.
I
It's a
thought it
regional agreement with the town of,
was the regional agreement.
who was it?
I thought we had weed whackers for
Was Otis.
on the other side of rails. Don't we have portable weed whackers?
Oh my God, that's just what my husband said when I was reading it at home. He's like, why do you
Well, I
need a
mean, you've
mower? We
seen
got
in the
weed
garage,
whackers."
they're lined up on the back wall of the garage, there's like 4 of them.
There's a lot of weed
Really
whackers.
nice, expensive backpack weed eaters.
I can't find it
If we're
now.
not using them, we might want to sell
No, they use them, but there's places where you wanna use a machine that will get the job done.
Yeah.
The weed mowing isn't the only thing they've got to do. If you tie 3 of those guys up mowing behind guardrails with those weed whackers,
them. I'm thinking 218.
Very
you've
time
lost them,
consuming.
you've lost them for the summer.
I'm thinking 2 high schoolers.
So I'm not seeing that for some reason. I know I looked at it, so I don't know where it is. I read it somewhere. So do you want to read through what? Thank you. So this is from Rainey. We've got a road grader. This is looking at, oh gosh, so this is for next year. Road grader priority number 2 at about 450,000, but we have a pre-owned at somewhere between 150 and 225. And then so priority 1 would be the dump truck, pickup dump, plow truck at 85,000.
And the only thing that hurts my feelings is 2 years ago, I could have got us 3 road graders for free.
Yeah, that's,
Because they were taking all the stuff that they were shipping out of Afghanistan and it was new in the box. They were just road grader kits. They ship them to you, engine, all the part. You just put it together yourself, and it was
Yeah.
a brand new John Deere road grader. But
Coulda, woulda, shoulda.
coulda, woulda, shoulda. We didn't ask for one.
So then we've got the mower at somewhere between 125 and 165,000. So I don't think the dump truck for this
And
year.
over the rail mower costs
I know.
$165,000 for a boom mower.
Well, it's the little arm. It's very technical.
Well, it's all space shuttle. I get it. Yeah. I mean, wow.
So I
forgot to mow a weed.
I don't think the dump truck's gonna be, the plow truck is gonna be a big problem at 85,000. I think if we're looking at free cash.
Oh, free cash will buy us a new truck this year.
Yeah, so that's not but that road grader is, so if you eliminate, so you're looking at about 300 if you eliminate our pre-owned value, if he's talking about selling the pre-owned.
Or
Is that-
trading.
No, buy it.
Oh, trading.
You would get a pre-owned one. You wouldn't get a brand new one.
No, I thought this was saying our
and
pre-owned
you're
value.
not gonna get $150,000
Out of our trader.
That
No,
old grader.
no, that is buying a pre-owned one.
Oh, he's talking about buying a used
Right.
one. Okay,
Yes.
I misunderstood. Okay,
Yes.
okay. And that looks like it's a priority for this year, he's saying. So that's definitely something we're gonna have to take a hard look at
Well,
because,
we'd have to see what the maintenance, I mean, we're projecting out. I don't know that we've ever done any serious maintenance on our road grader.
Oh, yes, we have.
Oh, I think that
In the
road-
last 2 years?
yeah,
I don't know if in the last.
I mean,
few
I'm sure,
years,
as anything, it's, you do new tires on the road grader. You're gonna
No,
fork
but
out,
about
you do-
4 years ago, they put a transmission in it.
Yeah.
yeah. I know that we've had a lot of issues with the road grader and
Yeah.
it's time for a new one.
And the front drive unit
So we-
doesn't work and nobody knows how to fix it.
So,
But the question for me, and this goes back to what Chester did, right? Chester sourced all of their road grading
Oh,
to a
really?
construction company,
What'd that come out
to a
to?
road construction company. They said they paid like $10,000 and they got all of their roads graded twice a year. That was John that told us that.
Really?
Yeah, but they own a road grader.
They owned one, but they didn't have an operator. So
Well,
they bought.
Do they wanna sell it?
I think we should just have a discussion with John about that.
I think that would be worthwhile. Because otherwise we're gonna have to look at either financing or purchasing.
Because I'm not
The road
against
grader.
it, but when you look at a $400,000 purchase, and if you say, well, if I can contract with a Parker Paving or somebody, Palmer Paving, and they're willing to grade our roads for 10,000, whatever the number,
Yeah.
you have to divide that into 400,000. If it's 10,000 a year and I get 40 years of road grading, I'm done.
Yeah.
but what about leasing?
Right. But I think anymore, the leasing guys, they want you to buy it, it's leased to buy within 5 years. So, I mean, your lease payment is 75,000,
'Cause the thing is-
75,000, 75,000.
You know, there's a lot more uses for a road grader than grading roads. You get a guy that gets pretty sharp, he can lay blacktop down with it, do a pretty nice job. The sides of the roads need maintenance, and a road grader is totally invaluable for that.
So
I
should we
know.
ask Rainey what, if he would look into a lease option and look into the possible outsourcing option?
Well, just see
and
what,
give us
you
some
know, 'cause
ideas.
there's the option of, do we try the service? You know, some things, do you try the service for a year and see how it turns out?
Yeah,
Do you try it a different way? You know, because if we aren't open to experimenting, we're committing to a $400,000 purchase,
Yeah.
and it's a new road grader, and new graders operate different than the 30-year-old grader or the 20-year-old. So it's a different learning curve, it's a different usage. You know, I mean,
yeah.
it's change, right? Either way, there's cultural change. So,
When they bought the grader they've got now, I had been operating a 1968 Austin Western, and it was tired. And I got on this John Deere, and for the first couple hours, I was totally lost. But then it began to dawn on me that things were tight. If you pull the lever a little bit, it only moved a little bit. With the old Austin Western, if there was a rock 100 feet up the road, you want to pull the lever now to get the blade over it. So, yeah, it's a learning curve,
Yeah.
but not a big one.
Okay, so yeah, we'll ask Rainey to come back and give us some more information.
Yeah,
To do with that.
and just so you guys are aware, I just wanted to share with you, just give you the big picture ideas of some of the requests that are coming down the pipeline, so you can kind of mellow in it. And Finance Committee is going to start meeting with these departments in the next few short weeks. But just so that you're aware, keep these in the back of your mind, so that when we're making decisions, that we're being strategic and that we're all informed. So that was the intent. You don't have to make a decision today.
Yeah,
Understand this is what's coming down the pipeline.
yeah, I appreciate it.
Then I think there's also, and I'll connect with Mary and Nicole. There are some other things that I want to make sure we stay on top of at the library. Like, for example, the hatchway in the back of the library, they have a door into the basement that's sitting on I don't know if it's a foundation of some kind, but it's deteriorating pretty badly and needs to be
Okay.
replaced.
the foundation or the door?
Both.
It's on concrete.
Well, that sounds like a safety issue, maybe.
Is Mary there? I think she could probably.
It's a Wilco door.
I
No,
think,
you're right.
Yeah.
And we had decided with Josh, some time ago, we would do the gutters first and then consider
Handle the water above.
Yeah,
the bulkhead. And we've had a couple of people look at it, and you don't repair a bulkhead. We thought maybe we could repair it, weld a piece on the bottom, and
you gotta
we
rebuild it.
can't do that.
You
We
replace
need
it.
to fix the foundation and replace the whole hatchway cover.
yeah, what they want to do, I think, is they dig it up and they take out the concrete that's there and they bring in this unit that they put in there and they tie it to the wall, and it's shaped like a set of stairs. And they put the stairs inside it, and the hatchway cover goes on top of it, and they backfill up underneath it, and everything is sealed.
So this is a spring job.
It's a
We're waiting for
Yeah.
spring. Okay.
Where I grew up, we just called those cellar doors, and we made them of wood, and they had two handles on them, and you open and close them.
Yeah.
Just saying.
We'll take some pictures and send them over so you can see it's pretty bad. We should be fixing that. The
Is
other,
it a safety issue for right now? Should we be barricading it
They
somehow?
work and they open, right?
I'm just saying, you know,
And they
I just
open-
remember when we emptied out the basement, they were a little snaggy and rusty and,
Yeah.
and they're deteriorating.
okay, I'm saying, I'm more talking safety issue of like kids climbing on it.
No.
No.
Okay.
no, that's-
No.
for
And the
now.
other issue that they have too is they have the cedar siding on the side of the building.
Yeah,
It's brittle, is deteriorating as well. Water is penetrating behind it, and it's just creating more water issues. That's something we'll have to probably take a look at soon as well.
okay.
But I think what's his Piper go up there and take a look, and he gave us a bit of an overview of what the issues were, and is it anything we should ignore?
Well, some
Is
of
this
this,
siding on the library? Or,
So on the left and right side, right, Mary, the left and right side of the library, there's
On the
wood
back,
siding
front,
on the roof, not on the roof, but you know, on this, it's like the triangle part,
peaks?
on the peaks.
Okay,
the peaks. So that's wood siding. It's not brick like the rest of the building.
okay.
So we'll have to take a look at too, but just to keep you guys aware.
Shakes.
Mary, didn't John look at that?
He did.
We did.
Yeah, John looked at it and, it's not super critical, but yes, it has to be done because there's a place where the water could be seeping through.
So we just need to get estimates to include that in your budget for next year, is that what we're saying?
We could do that.
Yep.
Or, I mean, the sooner you get estimates, the sooner we can figure out whether it goes into a free cash potential spend, or we just put it in a budget next year. to
Yeah,
get done in
I've got some
July.
guesstimates, but not a solid.
You know what's funny is I have this same issue going on at my house right now, and it's leaking into my. But very similar problem.
So maybe if Josh talks to the right person, he can get us a 2-for-1.
Yep.
Talk to Phil Swift on TV, get some of that goopy.
Yeah, get some of that slap on plastic goo.
Yeah.
I'm so upset. Annoying.
Okay, so do we have any more discussion about the preliminary budget, or do we want to move on to the warrant? All right, this warrant is a beast. Can I just say
It's like
that?
a take-home read. I think someone emailed it to me and I didn't.
So
So my understanding is, do we have a price to add to the OPM was my first question. For the
no,
owner?
so well, that was part of my updates. That bid is public currently, and we should be receiving proposals by January 25th.
Okay,
We'll have a price.
so when is this meeting scheduled? Okay, so we'll have a price at the meeting.
Yep.
Okay. And then so the next few are just moving money to pay for things.
Yeah, we can bundle those all in one article.
And then we start to get into the mending stuff. Zoning is gonna be present to explain all of these.
Yeah,
Okay,
they're in the process right now of getting their hearing off the ground. They have to have a hearing to go over these within
Prior
2
to.
days prior to
Yeah.
the special town meeting. And actually, Mike and I were just in my office today for about a good hour going over each of these, and I'm gonna ship this off to council for him to vet, of course. But a lot of what you see here are zoning bylaw changes. And we might do what we did, kind of like we did at annual town meeting, where we take it up as a package. So we're not sitting there going to one, spending 3 hours on debating on certain changes.
okay. Yeah, I don't wanna go over all of them now, I don't think, unless we have to. I mean, they all,
No, I'd like to take them home and read them.
okay, thank you. Enjoy
I am-
that.
I am waiting from Gordon, like I said, explained earlier on, he's gonna give me a proposal to include in here for a line item transfer within his budget to the to that one, the one that's 99% spent. Remind me, Kara, it's the
Wait.
brakes and repairs line item,
Okay.
law department.
Mm-hmm.
So we'll include that. And also, I think Mike from planning had requested we include an article here, something about, it's a provision that if passed, it allows the town to update zoning bylaws only for maintenance purposes. Like, for example, if a period is missing or a comma or maybe a a T is not capitalized, whatever, that we can make those changes without having to go on town floor for a vote.
Yeah.
Okay.
So that's coming as well into this warrant.
Okay, keep,
Would the, would the bylaw that we passed that permits similar adjustments made by the town clerk to the regular bylaws, would that carry over? Would that carry over to the zoning bylaws?
Let me find out. Thanks for reminding me about that.
And at this special town meeting, and I forget this, so Mary will correct me. Can we ask at the special town meeting? Oh, this is the annual town meeting.
Special.
Special.
Oh, the warrant says annual. So if this is a special town meeting, can we ask permission at that meeting to cut down the trees at Veterans Memorial Park, or do we have to do that at a?
they're not trees, they're shrubs,
The
remember?
shrubberies?
They've
Ooh,
grown
they're
to
shrubs.
trees.
No, they're still marked as shrubs. No permission needed.
Oh,
We
okay.
remember, we
That's
can't
right,
rehash that.
shrubberies. That's right,
Shrubbery.
they're shrubberies.
It's all in how you,
We are now the
word it.
knights that say, yeah.
Yeah.
It's a shrubbery.
I'm confused now. What's going on?
I don't think we want to cut them anyway, we want to pull them out.
yeah, we want to pull them out. No,
Nothing.
nothing, we're good, we're not talking about
Solved.
shrubs.
Problem
Listen,
solved.
Question,
Well, no, I'm bringing it up because at the last meeting, we talked about this, didn't we? And we left it.
yeah,
alone.
we said there's shrubs, we can pull them out, don't worry
Yeah.
Oh,
about it.
but we talked about it again after that. And we said, no, don't pull them out.
No,
Meeting.
no, we said pull them out because they're just shrubs.
Shrubberies,
Maybe they can just be trimmed.
shrubberies.
They can go, it's
a
okay.
shrubbery. It's a shrubbery.
All right. So am I hearing this correctly?
It's
You want me to-
overgrown shrubbery.
Removing the shrubs.
Yeah.
Yes. Remove the shrubs.
Away with the shrubs.
Can we get a vote or something? Because I don't want this to haunt me later.
A motion was made by Eric McVeigh to remove the shrubberies.
Second. Tom, we're talking about removing the shrubs at Veteran Park. All in favor? Aye. There you go, Josh. It's legit. So my question about the bond, changing the bond for the roads from 2,000 to 25,000. I love it. Is that the amount that Rainey had suggested? Is it like a standard? Okay.
You're never gonna make that work.
What, a $25,000 bond?
Yeah,
That's cheap. $2,000 bond is nothing.
that was ridiculous. Per mile, 25,000 per mile. I think that's pretty standard now. Is that right, Josh?
Because, I mean, it's a bond. You take out a professional bond, and the bond is, let's say it's $1 per 25,000 or something. So when somebody takes out that bond, they're gonna pay $100.
Yeah.
So, I mean,
That was what he was looking for.
yeah,
He read the article and he was good with it.
yeah. So I mean, bonding is not too big of an issue. It
Okay.
would be different if we were asking for a $25,000 cash deposit for each
Yeah.
mile of road that they were gonna be on. That would be different.
That might be a stretch. So the rest of them are zoning. So we're gonna take this home. When do you need this signed?
2 weeks prior to, all
Next
right,
meeting.
so
I think I read up to, I did pretty good. I read up to like article, oh, they're not even numbered. I read up to like page 8 and then I was like, oh my God, I can't read anymore.
Have a run until tonight.
So I'll keep
we can
going over it.
select board meeting on the 11th, Kara. That can be a good target date.
That's when we're meeting next?
Well, I was gonna bring that up too. Did you want to go back to weekly or are we still on bi-weekly?
Bi-weekly. What do you guys think?
Bi-weekly until February, how's that sound?
Yeah, and then we'll revisit it.
It's working, right?
It seems to be working fine. Are you guys having a hard time with anything or?
No, not at all. Just, I miss you guys. It gets a little boring. Board meetings. It gives me motivation and direction. I don't feel lost.
Joanne?
I just want to say you're saving money because I'm working less hours.
Okay,
Fine by me.
well, that's true. You are working less hours.
Oh, so really,
Yeah.
Josh is missing company.
Josh is missing us though. That makes me feel sad. I don't know how we can help you.
It's like they say, it's always lonely at the top.
Ain't easy being cheesy.
All right, Mary keeps me busy, so we're good.
Okay.
I'm sure.
But yeah, your next meeting's on the 11th. So I
Okay.
think that'll be a good target date. We'll prepare for that.
So
Okay.
I have new business.
What, oh, please share.
So, yesterday was Sunday. Sunday, I went to visit a friend who
Uh-huh.
lives on George Millard Road,
Yeah,
and I almost lost my truck.
wow,
And so I took pictures of it,
okay.
and we have I would like, I guess my commentary, Josh, is that I would like to see if you can coordinate, maybe take a drive with Rainey. I would like to see a plan to fix that road instead of pouring money into that road. Because we have Andy Montanero's driveway, where Andy used to live.
Yeah, that weeks right into the road all the
Right,
time.
so that driveway blows into the road, cuts a rut across it, and eats out the other side. So what that tells me is that driveway needs some type of what do you call that? Culvert in it.
Right.
Then the next driveway up just pours water out to the road. I mean, the gully on the other side of the road now was like 4.5 feet wide and 3.5 feet deep. I mean, it's down to the bedrock, and it's just taking all that material down the hill. So we're putting $16,000 to $20,000 a year in material into that road to just watch it wash out, because the water's coming out of the driveway onto the road. And then the next driveway down, that same property owner has a pond. I think it might be some kind of riding arena or something, but now it's covered in ice and it's a pond. And the pond's overflow is actually the driveway out into the road. And it has now cut about a foot deep into their road driveway as that water is finding its way back out onto the road. So it's totally destroying about a 200-meter section of George Millard Road. I mean, just driving my truck, I had to get over almost right into the ditch because a full quarter of the road is just gone.
So, Tom, remind me, is this George Millard Road? Is this the one where
Yeah, I talked a little bit with that landowner.
but so hold on, before you get into that, Tom, and I do want you to explain what's going on. So you're aware, Eric, there was some work done on a driveway on the next road over, I believe, and has caused water to redirect and consistently wash out the road. So Tom has been working on, and this is your part, Tom, if you want to describe a little bit on what's going on and what you've been working on to try to fix that problem.
Yeah. But I'm not getting very far with the landowner. His driveway is not at fault, so I've got to prove it to him. And
I
once
can
I do,
show you the pictures.
well, I'm gonna take the time to go over there tomorrow.
Because I think there's two pieces of this. I mean, to me, I don't know how we look at this from a benefit standpoint, because obviously homeowners are responsible for making sure the water from their property is not directed out onto public ways. So that means if they have to install a culvert, or they have to keep a culvert open rather than plugged, that is their responsibility. But we need to enforce it, because we can't, from a town perspective, when I look at it, I can't afford to put $20,000 into the same gravel road every single year.
Yeah.
Because we get 2 days of rain and the road disappears.
I was trying to find
So-
the rating for that road to see what the rating was on that road. Oh, it didn't get rated because it's not.
It's a dirt road.
It's a gravel road. So of course, once water starts scouring it, I was amazed when I drove up that road. I was like, holy cow, what happened to this road?
So I guess let's just ask Rainey what his thoughts are, what his plans are for that road.
Because there's a plan to fix it, but that only holds until it rains next time.
Yeah.
So that, we can put 50-ton of rock in it and watch 50-ton of rock end up at the bottom of the hill
Yeah.
during the next torrential rain. And I just don't want to see us doing that.
Yeah, I agree.
Now, I think,
And even if it's we repair their driveway and charge them, I don't care. We need to fix it.
one of the problems is there's a culvert there that's nowhere near big enough. on the upper side of that driveway. If the culvert was big enough, we could change the grade on the end of that driveway and put all the water so it went through the culvert across the road.
Like it's supposed to do.
Yeah,
Because it's supposed to go down to the bottom, and there's a culvert to take it into Bedlam Brook.
but I don't believe,
Because you can almost see them all now. They're all bones. 'Cause
I
the road's
think
gone.
that, I think right now there's only a 12-inch culvert there, and it's nowhere near big enough.
So we did, you know, Josh, I think it was 2 or 3 years ago when Brad was our supervisor. We gave the road supervisor the authority to go out and direct people to put in a culvert or fine them if they're plugging their culverts. So we just, I hate to be the heavy hand, but man, I hate to see that kind of waste when it comes to our taxpayers' money.
Yeah.
I agree, and I think Rainey agrees too. We'll get on it.
And so, you know, is there a segue, whatever, we just need to have Rainey come and tell us what the solution is so that we can fix it once.
Okay.
I do think that a bigger culvert across the road and grade the end of that driveway so the water ran to that culvert, it wouldn't go in the road.
Right.
But if you put the water out of that driveway into that culvert with the water that's coming down the road,
Yeah, it's too much.
yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, okay.
The only thing I have, I've got invitation, we haven't had one in a while, but we're having a Mars meeting. They're the, Massachusetts, they're the reps for the regional groups, with the school committee.
$2,000 to help raise our taxes.
Yes, so it could be a fun meeting only because, Russell and Montgomery have still not agreed
They're
to,
refusing to pay because
Yeah.
the guys haven't been helping us any. They just
No.
increase our taxes every year.
no,
I'm just giving their view.
okay.
I'm
The
I'm
real
speaking on
view,
behalf of the two communities.
No,
that are like,
the
why are
real
we
view-
paying two people that are helping us raise our taxes? each
they're
year?
not, But we had to revise the regional agreement. It was
Mhm.
up. So that needed to happen. So
Absolutely.
these are professionals that do this for a living. They
Mhm.
came in to help us. The towns all got together, paid them a very small amount. We had these great discussions,
Yep.
meeting with finance, meeting with select boards, meeting with school committee to come up with a regional agreement.
Yes.
Russell Montgomery did not have adequate representation, if any representation at those meetings.
I wouldn't disagree with that.
And then when it came time to sign the agreement, they were like, oh, no, we don't want to sign the agreement. We want to take some time to review it. Well, you had 7 months to review it if you came to the meetings.
Well,
So then they went with their attorneys and there's all this back and forth, even though the attorneys have already agreed. So anyways, they have yet to sign the agreement, which needs to be revised and
Russell
approved by
loves-
the state.
Russell loves to do that. They do the same thing.
Yes,
to
they
the
do.
Hilltown ambulance
Yes,
every
they
year.
do. Yep.
but what's the purpose of holding off?
Well, they say that they weren't part of the process.
They were offered to be part of the
Yes, they
process.
were, but
And they have a school, they have elected school representatives that they elect that were part of the process.
Their school committee was part of the process,
they
but
elected them to do that.
they were, listen, it's
I know.
completely ridiculous. I am fully aware of that. So anyways, if anyone wants to go to an exciting meeting, that's coming up on,
But they're
the
giving
5th
Dollar General.
at
Dollar
6
General
o'clock.
would come here instead.
I don't. It is gonna be on via Zoom. I can send you the link. It's at 6 o'clock on, I think it's the 5th of January. Is that what I just put in my phone? Yeah, January 5th at 6 p.m.
Tuesday night.
Fun Tuesday night. I think that's all I have. Yes.
Guys, a copy of the new quotes for next year for the.
Oh, yes,
Coffee room, copier.
How old is that copier?
not that
It's
old.
brand new. The other one broke and they replaced it. with a
Well, if
new
it's
one.
brand new, then we might as well buy the 2-year maintenance plan instead of one.
Yeah, you don't save a ton of money, but I guess when you consider that it increases every year, you can add that into savings.
And-
Maybe,
and
let's
what-
say maybe over 2 years, save about $180, $200.
It
Okay,
is, but then HP also have, HP, like any other equipment reseller, if you forget to renew, they make you buy back what you forgot to renew before they'll renew.
so it's $600.
Oh, yes. Like,
That sounds fair.
All right,
Okay, so I see what you're saying. So it's $600 for a 1-year warranty and it's $1,139 for the 2-year.
yeah, go ahead and buy the 2-year.
Yeah, we might as well do the 2-year.
You wanna make a motion?
Make a motion to approve the HP LaserJet warranty 2-year quote for $1,139
Out of office supplies.
out of office supplies. Thank you, Josh. Is there a second?
So
Second,
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All right.
Let's do care of. Madam Chair,
Yeah, what's up?
I just want to keep you guys posted, or the public posted, on the search process for police chief. Just to let you know and everybody know that we did receive 11 applicants total, 5 of which had met the minimum qualifications. And we're invited in to do, to answer scenario questions, one of which got eliminated in that process. So there's 4 candidates currently that are going to be interviewed, I believe this week. The goal here is to narrow it down to the final 3, of which when you, the Blandford Select Board, will meet jointly with the Chester Select Board and interview the final candidates. Similar process as every other. I'll be soliciting from you questions you'd like to see asked, and the town administrator in Chester and I will work together in putting those questions, narrowing them down, and putting them on a rating form, of which you'll use to rate the candidates. So that's the update on that. Any questions on that piece?
No, I just love the time frame that we have, that we're not doing this last minute. I love that we're gonna be doing the interviews now and then
Who
not
do we
pushing
have
someone.
representing us in that initial search piece? I just forgot.
Myself and Adam Dolby.
Adam, okay, thank you.
The other update I had too, just really a recognition for one of our volunteer firefighters. Jacqueline O'Brien completed the call volunteer recruit class at the Mass Firefighting Academy. So I just
That's
want to acknowledge that and recognize that on record for Miss O'Brien.
Congratulations to her. Thank you.
And that was a nice article in the paper too.
That's
where I read
awesome.
about it.
Okay.
And those are my updates.
FP Blandford making the front page. For good stuff.
that young lady's an excellent EMT.
Oh, good.
She's now qualified as firefighter 1, 2, and entry-level hazmat technician. And her plan now is to go to medic school to become a paramedic.
Good for her.
That's right.
Wow.
We're gonna have to go into the paramedic business.
That's
and start
not
making
easy,
money in this
man.
town.
She works right now for Otis Rescue, and she also works for Hilltown.
You want me to add in our capital plan to buy an ambulance, Eric?
Hey,
Well,
just never know.
Someday.
no, we don't want an ambulance.
Yeah.
All right. Well, I think that's it then. So we can adjourn at 8:09.
Boom.
Good meeting.